Oh, what up, what up, what up? It's your boy Roy, accompanied by the one, the only, the Dominican Badman, Serge, and we're Combat Sport Guys, coming back to you with another UFC 309 post-fight reaction and analysis. But before we do, how you doing, man?
I'm good, champ. We had a long night. Let's get in. Let's dive right into it.
Yeah. Kicking off the card, we had Eduarda Mora, the underdog, up against Veronica Hardy. I said that this fight could have gone either way. Mora going up a weight class, looked bigger, looked healthier, looked stronger, put the pressure on Hardy and pulled out the victory. What did you think?
I think Veronica Hardy was timid. Mora came was big, and she capitalized and she destroyed, champ. She took it over. Great decision win.
I think it was a great decision win. She see what she does in this weight class. See what she
Let's find out.
does. Next up, we had the Welshman Oban Elliott knocking out Basil Hafiz via overhand right in the third round. I mean, we both picked Elliott to win this fight. I think he looked good. He maintained the distance. He didn't allow Basel to get in the pocket. And yeah, he looked sharp. He looked crisp. His technique was nice. I was impressed with Oban.
Yeah, Elliot did amazing. I know. Shout out to Chael Sonnen. He was cornering in the fight. Got it done. Heavy. I mean, distance was there, and then he managed and knocked him out. It was beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. And Chelsea was big on him for some reason. So yeah, good win. Good win. Next up, we had Ramis Brahimaj knocking out Mickey Gall via KO TKO right hook. This is something I did not predict in our pre-fight analysis. I had actually had Mickey Gall winning the fight. I think you went with Brahimaj. What did you think of the fight? Was it
I
was it as expected? Did you think he was gonna knock him out right away? Or were you kind of surprised?
I just think Gaw is very inconsistent. And for example, Gaw is a grappler and he tried to do K1 and he paid the price. And now he's probably not going to be in the UFC first thing on Monday. So shout
Yeah.
out to Ramiz. Ramiz got it done. Heavy hands.
Yeah, he's gonna get most likely cut Gall, but it is what it is, man. That's how it goes sometimes. Next up, we had Marcin Tybura getting the TKO doctor stoppage up against Janata Denise. In our pre-fight analysis, I was leaning towards Tybura earlier in the week, and then I thought about it and I said, you know what, Janata, he had the longer camp. He's probably gonna look to showcase his wrestling defense, but man, did that guy get exposed for having no grappling ability? He gets taken down, he lies on his back, he holds on for dear life, and it's unfortunate, but that guy's gonna have to, really work on his takedown defense and his scrambles off the ground.
Yeah, and I mean we went back and forth last week in the what do you call it in the analysis because I predicted Tiberia to do this and you were right. Like the striking differential was there for Denise, but as soon as Tiberia mixed it up, it was
Yeah,
it was GG's.
yeah. He felt the power. He said, we're not doing this, brother. We're going down to the ground. We're
Which
gonna
is
we're gonna
crazy
go. We're gonna do it this way.
because you were right. As soon as Denise would touch him, you would instantly feel the difference. And so watching the live odds, you got to see that when he would touch him, odds would go down. But then the grappling was everything. So shout out
Yeah,
to him. Shout out to the nasty elbows. Shout
yeah.
out, got
Cut
the
him
victory.
up. He concussed him. He was wobbly when he got up, and then went back to his corner. And I don't know what he said to the doctor, but she was like, "We're not doing this. Your fight's done."
It's you can't. Yeah, you can't. I can't see. You can't say stuff I can't see. But also the blood was squirming in, so it's like a thing where it's just like how many rounds do you really have? So, I mean, sorry, can you go 5 minutes without having a vision problem? So, shout out to Tiburi, he got it done.
Yeah, shout out to Tybura. Next up, we had Roberto Romero losing via unanimous decision to David Onama. Now, Roberto was making his UFC debut. He was coming in on short notice, and I was impressed with the Mexican. This was a good fight. It was back and forth. In the first round, you got to give it to Roberto. He dropped him. He rocked Onama. His striking looked good. His pace looked like it was aggressive. It was fast. This was a high paced fight, and you know I was impressed with Roberto despite him losing. I hope that the UFC looks at him, they give him a shot, and he kind of sharpens up on some of those things, his decision making, right? Like, I would have liked to see him after he stunned Onama go for the kill, but he decided for some reason go down to the ground and grapple with him. So I think it's a little questionable decision making, but overall, I liked his performance, and I'm excited to see if the UFC keeps him around and what he could do with the full camp once he sharpens those things that he needs to work on.
Yeah, and look, and I mean, analyzing the odds, Romero started heavy quickly, and it felt dangerous for Onama. It felt very dangerous. Kind
Yeah,
of stunned him, gave him everything. The odds went from minus 13, 1400 to a minus 200 at one point for Onama, and that's when Onama was able to, use his kind of. He's more of a veteran now. I kind of see him versus Romero. He
yeah,
was able to use that experience and say, you know what, my turn now. So it was great by Onama, but it was a little bit scary.
yeah. And speaking of veterans, we had Damon Jackson losing via guillotine choke in the first round to Jim Miller. Damon Jackson after the fight left his gloves in the octagon, hinting at retirement. Whereas Jim Miller said he wanted to go for another how much is that? Another 14 fights. He wants to reach 50 fights, 50 wins. So, what did you think about Jim Miller? I know you had chosen him to win. I was on the side of Jackson. Were you impressed with the
Yeah,
old dog?
yeah. I mean, the old dog got it done, and I knew, and Damon Jackson started hot. You saw that first couple of minutes, and you're like, okay, well, this does not look good. But as we always say, when you start that hot, you have to have the conditioning to push. And Jim was just a dog, and it was GG's. Like when he went for that guillotine,
Yeah.
was it, man?
Yeah, he jumped the gun and he got it and he pulled out the victory. So shout out to Jim Miller. We're gonna see him around for a couple more. So we'll see what happens. Next up, we had Marcus McGee pulling out a unanimous decision win up against Jonathan Martinez. This fight was kind of interesting because Jonathan Martinez looked like we talk about people being gun shy, right? There was a couple of times where he would attack the calf, the leg of Marcus McGee. He would see him wobble, but he wouldn't capitalize on it. He wouldn't go in for the kill. Marcus McGee did pull out the unanimous decision win, but no, I'm disappointed in Jonathan Martinez's decision making there and fight IQ not really going for the kill.
Yeah, and this is the second time. Aldo, and prior to the fight starting, um, the commentary did say, like, Martinez did express that he was gun shy against Jose Aldo. So you
Hmm.
would expect that he was gonna, bring it on this one, but it was the same thing. And you kind of spoke about, him changing camps, but the reality, he looked amazing in that third round. He took the third round, but it's not about rounds; it's about finishing the fight. I
Yeah,
hope he goes back and he understands that he needs more urgency. Like
yeah,
I thought he was going to be what he did in the third. I was expecting him for him to do it in the first and the second. But shout out to McGee. McGee showed that versatile, switches it up. But McGee now needs to work on those defending those calf kicks better.
yeah. Checking the kicks. Yep, you're right. You're right. Next up, we had Mauricio Rufy beating James Lontop via unanimous decision. You know, this is Rufy's second fight in the UFC. He's still young. One of the things that, a criticism I would say is don't try to be too flashy. Don't try to be too impressive. He rocked Long Top. I think it was in the first round, and he went for a spinning wheel kick. I don't know, spinning back kick. I don't know what it was, but he fell and it almost cost him because Long Top was able to recover right away and hit him, and he kind of had him running from that. But just kind of just be smarter. You rock somebody, just go in there with the technical strikes and try to put them away right away. Don't get too flashy with it. Not now. Not this early in your career. Don't cost yourself a match because of that. But he looked good up against a tough opponent. Lontop's a tough guy, right? He could take a hit and grapple. He really roughed it out. This fight was at I think it was at catchweight. It was at 165, right? It was initially supposed to be at 145, and then they
Yeah,
jumped it up to 155, and I think 165 they agreed on. So, yeah, good performance from Rufy. Fighting nerds prevail, man. They
yeah.
prevail.
I mean, he almost cost him the O for the fighting nerds. And shout out to the man. The man took the fight within, I think, what was it, 10 days notice.
Hmm.
Nobody wanted to fight Rufy. Rufy is that Conor McGregor style fighter, and I think he threw kind of like a spinning back kick and an elbow, but his opponent came in hard, man. His opponent came in to fight, and I mean, look, he couldn't get him out of there, but he was just like Nick Diaz. What's good? What's all this spinning shit?
Yeah.
That's really what the fans felt like, and it was cool. But it's just like, bro, Rufy, you were brought in there to showcase your skill, to put a statement, and you kind of did. But at the same time, people were expecting a finish out of you.
Yeah, people were, you got to understand that some people place bets, for him to knock him out in the first round based on what they've seen in the past and whatnot, or just get a finish in general. But it really showcased that he can go the distance. He has the cardio, and this doesn't mean anything for Mauricio Rufy. It's just really focusing on capitalizing on situations where your opponent's hurt, right, and not trying to be too flashy and too oppressive. So, yeah, we'll move on. Next up, we had the underdog Vivian Araujo beating Karina Silva via unanimous decision. Man, what did you think of this fight? Because Silva just didn't look all good there. Like, she did not look good. What did you think?
I think, as somebody that really hasn't been taken to a decision, we both had Silva, and Silva, in my eyes, was winning the round. Sorry, was
Mhm.
winning the fight. But the reality was that he was just so like complacent with just doing nothing that the probably judges saw that and was like, you know what, we're just gonna score for this girl, and like, as they should. I mean, it was a close fight. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think it was because I just think like her cardio wasn't there, and a lot of the stuff like later in the fight just wasn't too technical and wasn't too on point. As because this is somebody that they thought was a contender, right? That was going to be fighting for the belt eventually, and there's a lot of holes in her game that were exposed. So we'll see what happens with Karine.
Yeah, all that muscle, but you know what? Christmas is coming up. She bought herself in the embedded a good Christmas decoration. I hope her camps buys her a treadmill for Christmas.
Hopefully, we'll see. Next up, we had Bo Nickel defeating Paul Craig via unanimous decision. And if you remember in our pre-fight analysis, I said that this fight can go one of two ways. Either they're gonna grapple a fight, it's gonna be a technical grappling match, there's a lot of scrambles, or it's gonna be a striking fest, right? Just those two showcasing the Bo Nichols showcasing that he could strike because people think it's boring, and he did. He was able to strike up against Paul Craig. He was able to win every round, in my opinion. The only thing I would suggest or like to see from Bo Nickal is kind of set up his strikes a bit more, focus more on his like it's good that he's striking, but practice on it because he was throwing a lot of that overhand right to the body, then overhand right over top. It was very predictable, and up against somebody who's better at striking than Paul Craig, would have laid him out like right away, right? Because they would have predicted it coming. But yeah, Bo Nickel got the dub. He's not ready for Hamzat, in my opinion. He needs a lot of work, and I think he's said in an interview that he knows he's not ready. He's trying to fight a lot of these guys, and he's going to focus on what he needs to focus on to get to that level. But a lot of people are saying that, oh, he'll beat Kamza. He's the guy to do it. He's not ready to do it right now. Not at all.
Yeah, I mean, look, this fight showcased where he's at. He says he wants to contend for a belt next year. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think,
Mm.
congratulations, you're in the top 15, but dude, like he was scared of Paul's grappling. Um, he's going to need more than 2 to 3 years to develop his striking. That showcases where he's at, and my honest opinion is he wanted 3 more fights prior to the belt. Take more fights. Go the Sean Malley approach and develop your striking. Get comfortable.
Yeah.
I just didn't like his striking. He was so scared. Well, it wasn't the striking the issue. The main issue was the grappling. He just didn't want to engage. He was just fearful. He looked at, okay, but this guy submitted Ankalaev. This also guy submitted Jamal Hill, and Paul Craig is not that guy anymore. He is dangerous, but you should have had a little bit more confidence in your grappling.
Yeah. Yeah. Next up, we'll go up to our co-main event. Charles Oliveira defeated Michael Chandler via unanimous decision. I had said that Charles Oliveira should win this fight. He's the overall better fighter. Um, the reason we had chosen Michael Chandler, and you and I both had like the same thought process was, he's been out for 2 years. He probably wants him more. He's going to come in with the killer mentality, and he's going to put him away. He's going to put him away early, and that wasn't the case. It was a lot like what we predicted. Charles Oliveira was going to strike with him, feel the power, and then take him down and control him. Right. That's kind of what we saw in the early rounds, and then I think it was the fifth round. Chandler's cardio did improve. I think that's one of the things you mentioned. You wanted to see how his cardio was, and he was able to stun Oliveira. And then it got kind of dicey. He could have had it. A lot of hits to the back of the head, a lot of fence grabs, but my man wasn't able to put him away. They went to decision, and Charles Oliveira won. What did you
Yeah,
think?
I mean, look, Chandler is a dirty fighter. I'm gonna let's go ahead and say that he's had multiple infractions with Dustin Poirier when it comes to fish hooks. This here, he blatantly was I'm gonna grab the fence. We gotta warm. You gotta take a point, take it away.
Yeah,
Um, I just feel that this is not the Charles that we were expecting. We were expecting a much more composed Charles, a Charles that was gonna wrestle, was gonna utilize his power. Because there was even a point, I think it was in the second round, where he just abandoned everything and was like, you know what, I'm just gonna brawl. And that's when he decided to do those overhand
yeah,
right energies. I don't think at this point Chandler should be contending in lightweight. I think Chandler needs to go to featherweight. Like
yeah.
get
I
on a
think
diet, lose a little bit of body fat, sorry, lose a little bit of muscle. Those guys are just so much bigger. Now, shout out to Oliveira. Um, what we thought Chandler was going to be like turned out Oliveira, the Bronx was consistent, precise, range, leg kicks, grappling. That man didn't come in to put on a show. That man came in to finish. Chandler came in to put on a show. I'm the most excited. The Arturo Gatti, brother, brother. I wasn't there to watch you. Be an exciting fighter. I came in there to watch you win, and that's what Oliveira did. So if I'm Chandler, I get it. You're exciting, but those slams at the end of the fifth round, that is energy. What are we doing here? Where was that energy in the second round or in the third round or in the first round when he took you down? A little bit upset on Michael Chandler. It's just he has so much potential, but he just wants to be an entertaining fighter. He just wants to please, brother. Let's get back into the victory column. That's what we need to do.
I don't think those slams were energy. I think my man saw Triple H in the audience, and he said, "Listen, I'm 38 years old. The WWE is looking nice. Let me show you what I could do. Let me show you I could pick up this man, this 155-pound man, and slam him down twice. That was a WWE move right there, brother. My man was securing a
Yeah.
contract. But we'll see. We'll see. I do like the idea of him dropping down to a leather class, and as you said, he's a lot smaller, right? So I think the length, the reach, poses an issue for him. But he always has, if you look at his record, suffered against
Yes.
high end opponents, right? He's always fallen short against high end. I mean, he beat Tony Ferguson, but this is the Tony Ferguson of today, not the Tony Ferguson of you know
Yeah.
10 years ago, right? So yeah, we'll see what happens with Michael Chandler. I don't think he's done. I think they're still going to give him fights. He did call out, uh, what's his name, Max Holloway for a BMF fight potentially. So we'll see. We'll
Good old.
see. And then Dana said that he is going to allow Charles Oliveira to be cage side for the Arman Sarukian and Islam Makhachev fight. So we'll see. We'll see if he gets another shot. We'll see what happens.
Oh, this is a new version of Charles. This Charles can potentially contest with Islam. I love it. I love this evolution of Charles. So let's see.
Yeah, let's see. Next up, we had our main event. Bah, bah. We had John Jones defeating Stipe Miocic via third round spinning back kick and punches. Jones, he looked good, man. A little heavy, but he looked good. A little slow, a little heavy, but he looked good. He's the same Jones that we always known. He took Stipe down immediately. Hit him with the elbows. A lot of people thought he was going to finish him then. And then, towards the end of the fight, hit him with that spinning back kick in the gut, dropped him, folded him, and then won the fight. What did you think?
I think shout out to Jones. Jones did complete my parlay, my four five parlay. And besides that, it was just dominance over round. You got first and foremost the speed advantage, and Jones said it. Hey, I was heavier last fight, but I noticed it in my speed, so that's why I'm cutting down now because I want to have a little bit more mobility. Stipe, on the other hand, came heavier, and we got to see the speed advantage.
Mm-hmm.
He would throw some hooks here and there, and they would kind of land. But Jones was just that was light heavyweight Jones at his prime what it felt like. It felt like when he fought. Um, it reminds me of not like Rashad Evans sort of fight. Like it was crazy. His knees. He incorporated everything from the ground game to the boxing to the stand up. This is your GOAT. This guy, I mean, look, he said he won the fight. Stipe retired. He said, I'm not retiring. Just show me the money. Dana, we're going to have a talk. You want me to fight Aspinall? Show me the money. And listen, if this guy's a duck, quack, quack, quack. Oof, phenomenal performance by
He's
Jones.
he said, "Show me the money," but also after in a post-fight uh, interview, he said that he's not fighting Aspinall. That it's either Pereira or he's done. So he did double down on that. He doesn't want to fight Aspinall. I don't think he's going to fight Aspinall. A lot of people are saying that he's doing it for the money, but I had a thought in the back of my head that was, if he won this fight, he was probably going to get gangster and call out Aspinall for talking all that shit, and then try to get the big money fight, right? But I don't. Yeah, he doubled down on that. He doesn't want to fight him. It's either Pereira for the money fight or he's gonna retire. And then Dana doubled down on the fact that he's not gonna make the Pereira and John Jones fight. No way. So
He,
we'll see.
he will.
It is negotiation. We'll see.
Yeah, even if it's like no belt. I mean, look, we spoke about this in length last week. Tom needs Jones. Jones doesn't need Tom to prove. Jones could retire, and like we said it before, shout out to GSP. GSP did it the same. He retired, uh, faded Johnny Hendricks. John did amazing. I wish the GOAT the best if this is the last time we see him.
Uh, I hear what you're saying that Tom needs John, but I think the UFC needs this fight because what does it do to the heavyweight division? What does it do to the title? I mean, what does it do to the value that Tom's interim belt has if he doesn't fight an active fighter who's refusing to fight him? So I
Yeah.
think the UFC needs it. It just needs it to kind of establish that title a bit more. If not, you're just gonna have a bunch of guys. Like, what do you do after? You have a tournament to establish, or you just keep Tom as the interim champ?
No, no. Now, so what's going to happen is you offer you give Jones some time. You give him 3-4 months. If they speak and he says no, just strip him from the belt and make just Tom the the undisputed champion. That's what happened back in the day when Dominic Cruz was sidelined and Renan Barao was contended for the interim belt. Apparently, eventually Dominic Cruz wasn't able to come back, and he just became the undisputed champion. So I think that's what's going to happen with Tom. Tom needs to forget about Jones at this point, because Jones doesn't want to give value to Tom, doesn't want to make Tom some money, and I mean, like a performance like yesterday, I feel Jones, and I understand as a fan why Tom is should be contending for the belt, and I would love to see Tom against Jones, but I mean, if he doesn't want it, he doesn't want it. That's really what it is.
And to go against your example, Dominic couldn't come back, whereas Jones is refusing to come back.
Yeah.
He's not that he's injured. It's not that he can't fight Tom. He's just refusing to. Whether it's for money, whether it's for the reasons that he's saying that he doesn't want to give an up and comer a chance, it is what it is. It is what it
No,
is.
and
And
it's
say
right.
and believe and call it what you want. You want to call it that he's ducking him. You want to call it that he's just searching for money. It is what it is.
Yeah, he just doesn't want to give him the rub. And as Chael Sonnen says, when one man decides to retire, it is your duty to pass the belt on to the other man. He just simply doesn't want to do it, and I mean, that's okay with me. That's okay with many fans. Um, yeah, we'll see we'll see where this goes.
Yeah, we'll see where this goes. Overall, this card to me was mid. I didn't like it too much. It was cool seeing John Jones back, but I actually quite enjoyed the UFC 100 card a lot more due to the finishes and the entertainment value of it. But good card. It was cool. Wasn't it was cool.
Yeah, a lot of decisions, a lot of certain knockouts as well. I mean, I think the gloves, honestly, the gloves doesn't have to do anything with the knockouts because UFC 100 they used the new gloves and it's just a comfort thing. So I mean, it is what it is. It looks like they're going to have the new gloves for China this coming weekend, and then they're going to go back to the old gloves, and that's it. They're going to go ahead.
No, they said that they're gonna moving forward. It's the old gloves.
No. For China, they announced that they're gonna
No,
have to
no,
use.
no. Moving forward, it's the old gloves, not the new gloves. The old gloves.
No, just for the China event.
No, the ones that they used in 309. They're gonna start using those gloves, but they don't have enough. They're out of stock. They said.
Okay. Well, I have to check my information again then, because I'm pretty sure I heard that China's gonna be the new gloves.
Well, when you say new gloves, do you mean like the ones that are preventing the eye pokes, or the ones that they used for 309, the old gloves?
The ones that are preventing the eye pokes.
Okay.
Because they said that the 310 event is gonna have the old gloves because they don't have enough, so they need to kind of make them again.
Okay, then you might be right in that regard. Then yeah, but I do know that they're gonna go with the old gloves going forward. But for
Yeah,
China, you might be right. Yeah, you might be right for China. I don't know about that too much.
yeah, and shout out to the UFC for Dana for listening to the fighter because it came down to comfort. And the reality is, those gloves were made to prevent eye pokes, and they're not really preventing eye pokes. So what's the point of, like he said, like you got to really grip. Yeah, I mean, it is what it
Yeah,
is.
the issue with the newer gloves, it has too much padding. You're unable to clench your fist. It's supposed to prevent fighters from getting injured, but a lot of fighters weren't comfortable with it, and it affected a lot of the output for punches and knockouts and stuff like that.
Yes, sir.
Let's see. I'm trying to look at an article here. I don't see.
Yeah, it was in the broadcast that was announced.
Yeah, you might be right. You probably are right. All right, so next week we have Yan versus Figueiredo in China. Now, you know how Trump says China? China. We're going
China.
to play a UFC Fight Night in China. Yan versus Figueiredo. I wonder what time it's going to be at. It's going to be at 3 a.m. my time. Sheesh.
Yeah,
3 a.m.
gonna be
6
brutal.
a.m. 6 a.m. for you, right? So, yeah, it'll be good. It'll be early morning for you.
Yeah, I will probably wake up. I won't be 100 with you, but at 3 a.m. Oh snap!
Well, 3 a.m. for me, but for you, it's going to be
Yeah,
6. But yeah, we will be covering that fight. We'll be dropping our full card analysis next week sometime, maybe Wednesday, maybe Thursday. Make sure you tap in. We've been doing pretty good. Our bets and parlays hit last week. If you want to know what we're betting on, what we're parlaying, make sure you follow us on X. It's going to be in the description below. Our picks for this last card weren't the best. I believe I had a 45% overall selection rate, whereas my man had a 63% selection rate. Despite that, the bets and the picks and the parlays hit. So doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad when we're doing bad on the picks, but yeah, we're gonna keep the ball rolling. So far, we've done excellent on every card with our picks and our bets. We're gonna continue that. And make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you follow us. Floor Price guy, you got anything to say?
take us home, champ. See you next week.
See you guys next week. Peace.